Okay, check this out. We're going to look at an interaction between Jesus and a leper. Mark 1, starting in verse 40, it says this. It says, "Now a leper came to him, imploring him, kneeling down and saying, 'If you are willing, you can make me clean.' Jesus, moved with compassion, stretched out his hand and touched him and said, 'I'm willing, be cleansed.' And as soon as he had spoken, immediately the leprosy left him and he was cleansed." We see situations like this over and over throughout the gospel. As a matter of fact, John tells us that if everything Jesus did was written down, the actual earth is not big enough to contain all of that. The books, there would be too many. So this is a very interesting thing. And, I know a lot of people that are sick, a lot of people struggling with chronic pain, chronic disease. They come to this, and this really baffles them because they don't understand basically how God works. And I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? If you look at this story and you look at other stories, you find, or at least I find, I don't always know how God works either. He does things that are surprising. He works in ways you wouldn't expect him to work. He does certain things and he doesn't do certain things. And often we're just kind of unsure exactly why God works one way or the other. However, we do have his word and we do know his heart. We can understand God's ways. We just can't actually know exactly what he's going to do. We wait to see what he's going to do. I don't know if he's going to heal somebody. I don't know. Look, we can't all live on this earth forever. Some of us are going to pass away. We all are. Unless the rapture happens, we're all going to eventually, some sort of sickness or old age or something's going to get us. And just to prove the point, as we read on, it says this, verse 43, Mark 1:43. Jesus, it says, he strictly warned him and sent him away at once. And he said to him, "See that you say nothing to anyone, but go your way, show yourself to the priest, and offer for you your cleansing those things which Moses commanded as a testimony to them." And you know what happened? The guy goes out and tells everybody. Doesn't actually listen to Jesus. Tells everybody. And it says, the fame of the Lord spread very wide and very far. Some people have said, well, was this like reverse psychology? The Lord told him not to do that, knowing he would. I don't think so at all. I don't think the Lord wanted him. The Lord wouldn't have told him to do something that he didn't want him to do. Probably this question I've been asked more often. Why didn't Jesus want the guy to go out and tell everybody about it? I mean, what's the harm in that? Doesn't that seem like a good thing? And in this case, I would say probably because Jesus was Jesus and he's not like us. He's not out there to get famous. And you and I say things like, well, man, wouldn't he be able to minister to more people? If he got really famous, he could reach more people. Maybe, maybe not. But what I'm going to say is this. The Lord, for some reason, doesn't want to be famous for healing this guy. He didn't want the guy to go out there and tell everybody, hey, sometimes it's a liability As a matter of fact, there comes a time when there's so many people, Jesus starts saying stuff that seems kind of nuts. And people start saying things like, man, these are hard sayings. Who can bear them? And leaving. And, to you and I, that doesn't make sense. We always think one way. That's our human nature. We think, hey, isn't this the best? And the Lord sees things differently. He understands things differently. And it's not always the best. Even when you say, wouldn't this be the best? That thing, there's an assumption that you put into that, the best. And normally what that really means is, wouldn't it be the easiest? That's often how we make our decisions. That's often what we think. Man, the easiest way to do this is to get famous and then just preach the gospel a couple times to huge crowds. That's the easiest. That's not necessarily the best. Probably not the best, actually. The ministry Jesus wanted to do was not, look at me, I'm famous. He wanted something else. He had a different intention. And fame, the Lord, it's very clear in the gospel. He knew what men were made of. He didn't trust man. He didn't commit himself to them. He never was after fame. That was the furthest thing from his mind, because he knew that it was garbage. It was vanity. What he was after was ministering to people. He was after changing lives, and like this guy, being compassionate. The Lord didn't need the approval of a mob or crowd. He didn't need a bunch of people standing behind him. At the most impactful point of his ministry, he stood alone against basically the world. And that ministry was so powerful. It's changing lives to this day. But the point is this. The point is that the Lord, man, he is not us. We're not him. He thinks differently. He does things differently than us. And if you're struggling with understanding exactly what the Lord's doing, you have to remember, you were bought at a price. You're not your own. You've basically, the worst thing that could ever happen, if you're a believer, that worst thing is not going to happen. That is you being in hell because of the Lord. Worst case scenario is gone, okay? We need to change our approach now as believers, and we need to stop dictating to the Lord what we think needs to happen next. And instead, we need to start waiting, anticipating, watching to see what God's doing. Okay? It's a whole different ballgame. Have your eyes open, right? This is another reason to be in the Word. It gives us clues. It helps us to be looking in the right direction. In your prayer life, the moving of the Holy Spirit, the leading of the Lord, all of these things help you to see, man, this is interesting. Maybe the Lord's doing this. Maybe he's doing that. And you keep your eyes open. You walk by faith. You keep trusting him. And see what he does. And I'll tell you, that type of life is really actually exciting. It's not always fun for us, because so often we just want to know what's going on. We want to be on the inside. But listen, it's faith. We're not walking by sight. We're walking by faith. And so, you just have to deal with it. So, anyways, understand the Lord's ways are not our ways. Keep putting your trust in him. If he's leading you, then listen to his leading and follow him. Trust him. Trust the truth of his word and walk in faith. So I hope that blesses you today. I hope you have a great day. If it ministered to you, take a minute, leave a comment. Of course, like the video, subscribe to my channel, please. And I'll see you again tomorrow. May God richly bless you.